Welcome back to UK Knowledge Guru, where I provide 100% free guidance. In this video, I will show you the 5 years total cost of the sponsor license, self-sponsor route using skilled worker visa, and the total cost is £72,767. Yes, as per my calculation, it's £72,767. And I will also provide you evidence in this video that how I calculated this cost. Reason I'm making this video is as some YouTubers are misguiding and misleading applicants, especially who are on post-study graduate visa and planning to open a company to self-sponsor themselves via this route without having any genuine business. And they're thinking that they will do other odd jobs, get ILR, British passport using this route. This 5-year cost includes sponsor license fees £536, immigration skill charge £1,820, skilled worker application fees £1,636, immigration health surcharge £5,175, UK income tax for 5 years £26,121, UK national insurance for 5 years £10,452, employers NI contribution for 5 years £20,427, accountant cost for 5 years approximate £6,000, business banking cost for 5 years approximate £600. Total cost is £72,767. Now let me show you how I calculated this cost. So we will start with the first one, which is license fees. How much is the license fee? So you'll go on gov.uk website. On that website, UK visa sponsorship for employers. Go down, apply for your license. If you click on this section, apply for your license, you go down, you will see the license fees. So how much is the license fee? So if you are applying for a worker license, it's £536. For a small sponsors, for a large sponsors is 1,476. For creative worker visas, temporary workers, which we are talking about, workers and temporary workers, is 536. For large ones is 536 and 1,476. This one includes both. So for example, NHS applying for a license, it's a big company, they will pay 1,476. Okay, but if you are applying for a, like you have just graduated and you just wanted to open a company, you wanted to start a new fresh business, you will pay 536. That's a license fees. Okay, we will discuss the immigration skill charge fees afterwards. So add a worker license to an existing temporary worker license is no fees. But for large, medium and large companies, it's 940. Add a temporary worker license to an existing worker license, no fees for small companies, but no fees for the large companies as well. Okay. Now I'll clear over here what do we mean by large and small, because just to clarify, because we will be discussing this in further video as well, how to tell if your company is small. So it's simple. You are usually a small sponsor if at least 2 of the following apply. Which 2? You have less than 50 employees. You have total asset worth 5.1 million or less. Your annual turnover is 10.2 million. So I'm sure any new company, whichever you are opening for, like, applying for the sponsor license, because this video must be those people who are watching who wanted to apply a fresh license. So they all lie in a small sponsor. And for a small sponsor, it's 536. Immigration skill charge. You might have to pay an additional charge when you assign a certificate of sponsorship to someone applying for a skilled worker or a senior or a specialist worker visa. This is called immigration skill charge. It also says you must pay immigration skill charge if they are applying for a visa from outside the UK for 6 months or more, inside the UK for any length of time. So whether you are on defined CUS or CUS, like undefined CUS, you need to pay immigration skill charge. Now, when you do not need to pay, many applicants are confused. They think that some people don't need to pay, but they have already provided the code. So if your code is S, like, 211, biological scientist, natural science, research, the only which people normally get confused, other researchers, unspecified discipline. So unspecified discipline doesn't mean that anything which is coming across, like for example, crypto miners. Yeah, that's undefined discipline and there's no need to pay. It's not the case. So don't get don't, because your COS can, the home office won't issue that. Okay, now higher education teaching professional, that's also very confusing as well. So make sure it's for higher education teaching professionals, not for teaching assistant, not for some other like Montessori or all that. Okay, so be careful with that. Now, how much is the charge? So the charge is first 12 months, £364 for small sponsors. Medium or large sponsors, £1,000. So if, for example, and it also says each additional 6 months, £182 and £500 for medium and small sponsors. So how much it will cost for 5 years altogether? So if you go down on this page, they have provided the calculation. It's very simple. The longest you can sponsor a worker for 5 years, so the most you will have to pay is £1,820, which is obviously you will be applying for 5 years, 3 years. So in that case, 5 into £364. If you are a small or charitable sponsor. So a small organization, anyone who's starting a new company, so they are small and they need to pay 1,820. For large companies, NHS or any other big organizations, they need to pay 5,000. How do you know large or small? I have discussed this in my video, how to apply UK sponsor license. In this video, I have showed what do we mean by large or small sponsors. So £1,820, that's one of the cost for small sponsors. Okay. It also says will contact you if you do not pay the charge or the wrong amount. You will have 10 working days to pay the charge. The worker visa application will be refused if you do not, and you probably it's better don't do that because you might not get the refund as well. Okay, make sure that you pay the right amount for the immigration skill charge. Now let's start with the second cost. Okay, now let's start with the skilled worker visa fees. How much you will pay? So you have applied for the license and now you got the license, you will apply for skilled worker visa. How much you will pay for that? So the fees depend between £719 to £1,639. Why? I'll discuss that later because it's salary list and non-salary list. The health surcharge, you need to pay £1,035 per year health surcharge on a skilled worker visa. You also need to show £1,270 available in your bank. Okay, for 28 days, 30 days, whatever you can say, you need to show that amount as well. So this amount you just need to show, you don't need to pay, but this 1,035 you need to pay, and we will calculate it further as well. So they have also provided example. If you are applying to come from UK to Argentina, from Argentina for 2 years, you will pay £719 plus £1,035 for each year for health surcharge. This means you will pay £2,789 when you apply for your visa. Now, how much is the fees? So for up to 3 years is £719. For more than 3 years is £1,420 per person from outside the UK. So there is a difference fees for inside the UK and outside. If you are applying from inside the UK, then for 3 years is £827. For more than 3 years is £1,636 per person. Now this is the standard fees. Now immigration salary list. So what is immigration salary list? So it clearly says you and your family will pay a lower application fees if your job is on immigration salary list. So when we'll click on immigration salary list, we got this skilled worker visa immigration salary list, and this was updated 4th April. So this is new. And what is on the immigration salary list? Managers for fishing, chemical scientists, biological scientists, social humanities scientists, graphics and media designers, which is one of the root people wanted to know. Graphics and media designer. Laboratory technicians, pharmaceutical technician, artists, dancers, musicians, art officers, agriculture, welders, bricklayers, roofers, carpenters, care workers, senior care workers, animal care, fishing. This is the immigration salary list. If you are on that list, then you will pay £551, £1,084 if you are staying for more than 3 years. Many people get confused and they assume that it's it's not this one, but it's actually if your name is not immigration, if your job code is not an immigration salary list, then it's £1,636 per person. Okay, now health surcharge, it's £1,035 per year you need to pay. So how much will be for 5 years? So if we click on that, if we go applying alone, this is the calculator provided by the gov.uk. Are you currently in the UK? So let's do it for the post-study worker visas who wanted to open a company and start this. Are you applying to stay? No. Are you under 18? No. What's your nationality? So for example, put India. What's your visa route? So skilled worker. Okay. 5 years. Skilled worker, 5 years. Date of birth. Okay, we'll use just this. Calculate. Based on the information you have provided, you need to pay £5,175. So it's a simple calculation. You can do that. I'll put that link in the description as well. It's a simple calculation based on this, skilled worker visa for 5 years. If you doing it for 3 years, and if you calculate, it's 5,175 again. Okay, because you got the 5 years, you have to pay for the 5 years. So that's one part which I have done it. Okay, now how much you need to pay for your dependent. I have created this video, how to apply UK skilled worker dependent visa, in which I have discussed this in detail. So I won't discuss this in this one, but I have already discussed and showed in the other one. Okay, now healthcare worker, how much you have to pay, it's clearly mentioned on gov.uk website. If you are applying from inside the UK, you will have to pay half the cost, yearly cost, for example 380 or 6 months or less. If you is more than 6 months, then it's simple calculation, and which is 5,000, which we just discussed. Okay, now let's discuss how much you need to pay tax on the income which you will get. So again, gov.uk website, you go on income tax, estimate your income tax for the current year. Start now. So for example, your salary is 38,700. Where am I getting that figure from? So if I go back to my skilled worker visa website and I go over here, so skilled worker visa, your job, the minimum salary standard for the type of the job you will be doing, 38,700 per year. This is basically, like, for example, if you're opening a company from your post-study work visa and after that you wanted to open a company, that's what you have to pay yourself, 38,700. So if we pay 38,700 per year, no, because you are under, what is your, we leave the optional tax code. Do you pay the Scottish income tax rate? So if you applying for Scotland, like if you are in Scotland, it's a different tax rate. So we'll first see the English and then we'll go on the Scottish. So continue. So check your answers, get results. So if your salary is 38,700, based on your answers, we estimate you yearly take home pay, you will pay income tax of £5,224. You need to pay national insurance £2,090. Total tax to pay £7,314. This is what you have to pay, okay, for 1 year. Multiply that by 5 years if you're planning this visa. So this is your cost. Monthly, let's do the calculation, because obviously you planning monthly. So if you earning 38,700, in that case, your pay will be 3,225. So this pay, why am I discussing this? So monthly, you need to make sure that your bank, you pay yourself that much salary, and your income tax will be £435, £174. Total tax to pay £609 per month. You need to pay tax. Okay, so regardless, for example, you earning less or whatever the scenario is, you still need to pay £609.55. This is what you have to pay per month. So that's how you will calculate this. So if I do the yearly calculation, I'll multiply 7,314 multiply by 5. This is what you will pay. Considering the tax rate is the same for 5 years, make sure it changes every year as well. So next year the tax rate can change. So now let's discuss the national insurance rate and categories. So what we are discussing, the national insurance which you will pay, because you opened a company, you paying a salary to yourself, so you need to pay national insurance contribution from the company. So this is where the dispute started with other YouTubers and other videos which I have watched. They not considering this cost. They don't know this cost exists even. So all those videos have incorrect information. So this is what I wanted to clarify. Employers need to pay national insurance as well for the employee who's they paying the salary. So if anyone is paying you 38,700 salary, it's regardless, it's your company, you got the you're getting a salary from that company, yeah. So you paying 38,700 salary for 1 year. You need to pay, employers need to pay national insurance because your own company. You need to pay national insurance as well on that company, and that's an employer's one. So employee is this one, And I'll put all these links. This is on gov.uk. You go in national insurance rate in categories. You go down employee national rates, which we have just discussed. Employee national rate was just provided over here. National insurance. See this, £174. Employee national insurance is less. Employer's national insurance is more. If you go down, this is employer national insurance. This table show you how much employers pay towards employees national insurance from 6th April to 5th April 2025 for this year. Okay, categories. So let me explain you the categories as well, so you know what we are discussing over here. So categories are defined as letter A, B, C, D, all these over here. From £123 to £175, you don't pay anything. It's 0%. From 175 to 481 or 758 to 2083 pound per month. If you consider this figure, 758 to 2083, this is your gross salary we are talking about. So it's 13.8% and 13.8%. So I'm considering A over here. How do I know which letter I have to select? So if I go up, I click category letters, it will give me the list, all these letters. So why am I considering A? Because it says over here all employees apart from those in group B, C, H, W, M, V and Z in this table. B, so you can see that married women, employees over state pension, apprentices, employees under 21. So this is the list. In normal cases, it's always A where you pay 13.8%. So now we have understood the category and now we have understood how much we have to pay, 13.8. Now, how to calculate this? So again, we will go on gov.uk website. How often is the employee is paid? Monthly, we'll select continue. How much is the employee paid monthly before any deduction? Okay, so we are talking about gross pay, and the gross salary we have decided 38,700 for annual. So how do we know the monthly? Again, we go on gov.uk website, place where I entered 38,700. You pay 38,700. On this section, if you see over here monthly, if I click on monthly, it will give me the figure how much I'm getting paid, 3,225. Okay, so this is your gross monthly pay, 3,225. So when I put that figure 3,225 and I do the calculation, what is the employee national insurance category letter, which I just discussed? It's A. Okay, if you are in Scotland, it's basic rate, it's different because in Scotland we have slabs, but it's not massive difference. So you can take an assumption from this figure as well. Continue. Result of your national insurance contribution. Now if I go over here, it says employers NIC due £340. So the employee 174. This 174 I have showed you over here as well. If I go down, that's 174. National insurance £174. Okay, when you are getting paid £3,225 per month, you need to pay 174. But when you are getting paid when you paying that salary to yourself, you need to pay £340 per month. Employer's national insurance contribution. This is what you will pay. Now multiply this figure by 12, multiply this figure by 5 years. Considering the rate will remain the same. Okay, we are taking assumption over here. So that's what it's an assumption, that if the tax rate is the same, usually it goes 1% up and down or whatsoever, but this is what roughly the amount is. Okay, now let's discuss another cost, which is accountant cost. Without accountant, it's not possible because you need a pay employee, you need to pay to your to yourself, and you need to keep the accounts right. When you will try yourself, you will make mistake. It's better to have the accountant. So I'll do the random. So the accountancy partnership, that's just one of the website with got 4,377 5-star reviews. According to them, they charge from £54.50 per month. Okay, but they haven't mentioned over here pay. So when you will add that, they will go up to 60, 70, 80 or £100. We will take another one. So unbiased.co.uk, how much do the accountant charge? If we go down for annual cost, bookkeeping, corporation, monthly, annual, all that stuff. For small businesses, this monthly fees can low as £60, as high as £450. Usually the standard rate is £100. That's what I have seen. Accountant these days, they do charge £100. For self-assessment tax return is £200 to £300. So if you're doing it in the end of the year. Okay, let's take another website. So this Aneet & Co company, according to them, they will charge £100 to £500 per month for professionally qualified accountant. So new business, I'll assume £100 again. Let's take another one. RJ Accountancy Limited, chartered accountant, and they are a registered company. If we go down, that's their fee schedule. How much does the accountant cost? So they have provided the turnover. If your turnover is 0 to 10k, it's 300 plus VAT. Your turnover has to be 30 plus 240. You know why? Because obviously you're paying salary to yourself 38,000. So that's where your turnover should minimum lie. So £480. But on London High Street, like East London and other places, you can get accountant for £100. So we will assume £100 per month cost for the accountant. Multiply by that 12, multiply by 5 years. Let's discuss another cost, business bank account cost. The business bank has to be high street bank. So you can't have Revolut, Tide, these kind of banks because it says that it has to be a high street bank. So if we go over here, we have Barclays, that's a high street bank. Account fees is £8.50. Okay, that's for the Barclays. Let's check RBS. If you go on RBS website, you have a startup bank account. They don't charge any fees for the first 2 years. It's free. It's good. But after the 2 years, they charge 70p per item, 70p per £100, 0.35 pence. So if you have 100 transactions, that's easily good amount of gone from your account. Okay, so that's your RBS. Now check Bank of Scotland. Bank of Scotland business bank account. If we go down on this, that's what it says. They charge £8.50 per month. Okay, so that's monthly account fee is £8.50 after 12 months. So the first 12 months they don't charge, but then they will charge. They all have some kind of benefits, but in reality they all charge you something. So usually I'll assume you should calculate roughly £10 per month for the business bank account, because if you see over here cash payment in and out, they will charge 85 pence for every 100. So for every 100, okay, so just multiply that by, if you're paying someone 1,000, that's £8.50 they have charged you. Credit paid in branch 85p, checks 85p. So anything you will do, they will charge you money on business bank account. That's how they make the the money on on the banking. So we'll take it £10 per month for the business banking.